Monica Beets just did what no one thought possible. She reopened a mine her own family gave up on and struck over $120 million worth of gold. That's not a typo. This wasn't a new claim or a lucky find. It was the same dead ground her father once called a money pit. Everyone said it was played out. But when Monica quietly went back with new tech and a gut feeling, she uncovered a hidden gold deposit so rich it defied every map, every record, and even her father's belief. What started as a small test cut turned into one of the most shocking discoveries in gold rush history. A find that rewrote Yukon geology and put Monica Beets at the center of a modern-day gold legend. If you love stories where old ground turns into gold ground, hit that like button and subscribe. You don't want to miss this. The wind cuts through the Yukon flats as Monica Beets stands at the edge of a claim her family once swore off forever. The ground looks dead, scarred with rusted pipes, frozen hoses, and the skeleton of an old wash plant buried under frost. Years ago, Tony Beets called this patch of land a money pit, a hole that swallowed fuel, time, and patience before giving nothing back. Most miners forgot it. Monica never did. Old footage shows her younger self standing beside her father, covered in mud, hearing him say the words every miner dreads. "It's done, we're pulling out." But something about that ground never sat right with her. The pay streak ended too suddenly, like it was cut off midstream. Locals said the permafrost shifted, sealing the gold below forever. But Monica doesn't believe in forever. 15 years later, new tech reveals what her father never had. Satellite imaging that detects faint heat signatures running along the old tailings. Strange, considering this area's been frozen solid since the shutdown. The readings are faint, but real. Something under that frozen mud is still alive. She doesn't tell her dad. Not yet. Instead, she reactivates the claim in her own name, hires a skeleton crew, and drives a lonely convoy of machines back onto the same ground that once beat her family. Day one starts slow. The first cuts peel back layers of frost and mud like flipping through pages of history. Every foot down, they hit reminders of the past, snapped cables, rusted pumps, crushed barrels. The place feels haunted by machinery that never got to finish its job. Rick Ness stops by to check the progress, smirking. "You're digging ghosts, Monica," he jokes. She laughs, but the truth hits deeper than she lets on. Maybe she is chasing ghosts, hers, her family's, the ones who walked away before the last bucket dropped. By noon, the crew's patience thins. The excavator hits a hard patch that feels metallic. Everyone assumes it's junk, more scrap from the old operation, but when the dozer clears it, the metal gleams cleaner than rust. It's a dredge chute, still jammed with compacted black sand. Someone shouts to grab a pan. Monica scoops a handful and swirls it in water. The black sand rolls heavy, the color rich, and then there it is. A single nugget the size of her thumb, gleaming through the mud like a dare from the past. For a second, nobody says a word. The Yukon wind whistles, the sluice rattles, and all she can think is, what if her father was wrong? That one nugget shouldn't be here. The old map said this stretch was stripped clean. So where did it come from? The next morning, she's back before sunrise. The ground looks ordinary, but something about it feels wrong. Every miner learns to read dirt, its texture, smell, even the way it clings to boots. This ground doesn't behave like the rest. The deeper they go, the denser it gets. It's heavy, wet, and warm. Warm, in the middle of frozen country. The crew checks the thermometers. The readings are real. The water table's running almost 5 degrees hotter than it should. That's impossible unless something underground is heating it. Or moving through it. Kevin Beets flies a drone over the pit, scanning elevation data. When he compares it to historical footage, his brow furrows. The ground isn't just uneven, it's sagging, slightly sunken across a perfect line that stretches the length of the old dredge path. That's when it hits them. The dredge didn't just rust out. It collapsed into something. Maybe a buried trench, maybe an old river channel that never showed up on the records. If that trench carried pay gravel, then it might still be full. Untouched, packed solid beneath the permafrost, sealed like a time capsule of gold, no one's ever seen. Monica leans on the dozer blade, staring into the dark cut. Every miner dreams of a second chance, a chance to go back to the hole that beat them and win this time. Now she's standing on one. But she knows what the Yukon takes from those who underestimate it. Steam curls from the thawed ground, glinting with flecks of gold dust, proof the earth still holds heat and secrets. For years, everyone called this land finished, dead ground. But Monica Beets isn't here to repeat history. She's here to rewrite it. By nightfall, the engines growl back to life. Floodlights slice through drifting mist as her crew moves in silence, the excavator tracing the same trench line her father once abandoned. The ground feels heavy, almost alive, resisting every bucket. When the loader dumps its first scoop into the wash plant, the slurry runs thick and sluggish. Within minutes, the sluice clogs solid, not from mud, but from something far denser. Monica reaches into the tray, lifts a handful, and feels the weight pull at her arm. It's not silt, it's nearly pure concentrate. Black gravel clinging together like clay, glittering with trapped gold. They kill the water and scrape out the mats. The cleanup tray glows under headlamps, bright flecks everywhere catching the light like static. Even the veteran hands go quiet. Nobody's seen color this heavy from a test run in years. They weigh the pan sample, run the numbers, and realize it's pulling triple their average from last season. It doesn't make sense. The maps show this line as stripped to bedrock decades ago. By sunrise, Tony Beets's truck is parked at the edge of the pit. He climbs out slow, the way only a man who's seen a lifetime of busted dreams does. "You're chasing ghosts," he says, voice flat but firm. He tells her every miner gets one claim that breaks them, and this one already took its pound of flesh from him. He warns her the ground's unstable, that the gold here doesn't come without something taking back. Monica nods, but her eyes are locked on the sample tray, still glowing with fine yellow dust. She doesn't say it out loud, but she's already decided. She's not walking away this time. As soon as Tony's truck disappears down the road, she waves the crew back to work. The next few hours turn into a rhythm of diesel roars and shifting gravel. They cut deeper, past the thawed zone, until the excavator bucket scrapes something solid. The sound echoes through the pit, metal on metal, sharp and clean. The operator kills the engine and climbs down. Under the first layer of muck, a curved wall of iron rises from the frost, a section of the old dredge body, half fused into permafrost. It's like digging up a frozen monster. The paint's long gone, but the frame's intact. They clear around it, inch by inch, until they find the lower deck. Panels warped inward from pressure. When they pry one open, they find rows of steel screens still packed with gravel. It's not frozen solid. It's sealed tight, preserved. Monica breaks a chunk loose and pours it into her pan. As the water spins, flakes light up like sparks under a torch. The entire screen is loaded. Every tray they open looks the same. Untouched since the day it sank. It's as if the dredge went down mid-cleanup, gold still trapped inside, waiting. The crew erupts. For a few minutes, it feels like history just gave them back everything it took. But Monica's eyes narrow. Something's off. The gravel doesn't look aged. It's damp and clean, no oxidation on the steel around it. That shouldn't happen after 15 years in frozen ground. She runs her fingers through the pay dirt. It smells faintly of fresh diesel. Someone's been here, and not long ago. Later that night, she's in the camp trailer, laptop open, cross-checking Yukon mining records. Buried deep in the archives, she finds it. A permit flagged for illegal operations near her coordinates, filed under a fake company name back in 2014. The permit holder, one miner, vanished mid-season after reporting unstable ground and heat vents forming under equipment. The note ends abruptly. No closure, no follow-up. The man was never found, only his gear recovered downstream months later. Monica traces the GPS points from the old permit. The final logged location before he disappeared sits less than 200 feet from her dozer. She stares at the map for a long moment, then slams the laptop shut. The next morning, without saying much to the crew, she reroutes the dig toward that exact spot. By midday, they strike something unnatural. Crushed barrels stacked haphazardly beneath a layer of compacted silt. The labels are long gone, but when one splits open, rich, oily dirt spills out, glinting under sunlight. Pay dirt. Still sealed, still full. It looks like whoever worked this site last tried to process it and failed, leaving everything behind in a hurry. Monica orders the crew to sample the material. The cleanup tray is heavy, the concentrate dark and fine. They run it twice through the plant to make sure the scales aren't lying. The purity comes back almost unbelievable. 98%. Yukon Placer Gold never grades that high. It's so pure, it barely needs refining. The only way it happens is if the gold's been migrating upward through hydrothermal fractures, collecting near the surface. That could mean the entire trench sits on an active vein, feeding new gold into old ground. Kevin calls her over with a grim look. If that's true, we're sitting on a live system. It's moving. Monica doesn't respond. She watches the water flowing from the sluice, muddy but bright in streaks, each ripple catching sunlight like liquid metal. Something deep under this claim isn't finished forming, and it's still giving up gold faster than they can pull it out. The men don't say it aloud, but everyone feels it. The heat, the vibration through the machines, that strange pulse rising through the pit like the ground itself is breathing. Every bucket brings richer color, and with it, a growing unease. Days blur together, and the cleanup trays start to tell the story for them. Each way out climbs higher than the last, sluice mats packed tight with heavy concentrate that shouldn't exist in played-out ground. The totals defy logic. Hundreds of ounces from dirt, the maps call dead. The crew celebrates, but Monica stays silent, her eyes fixed on the readouts. The numbers aren't matching the cut. The gold's coming from somewhere else, maybe feeding in from below, like the earth itself is replenishing what they take by the fifth cleanup. The patterns grow stranger. The deeper they dig, the hotter the gravel becomes. Core samples pulled from 20 feet down come up steaming, thawed even in sub-zero temperatures. The water they pump out smells metallic, almost chemical, and carries flakes that don't resemble surface gold at all. Rounded, smooth, as if they were formed deep in pressure. Monica sends the samples to a lab in Whitehorse. The results arrive days later. Trace elements show this isn't placer gold, it's vein-fed, rising from hydrothermal fractures below. She reads the report twice, then 3 times. That means the dead ground her family walked away from isn't old tailings at all. It's sitting on a live fracture, a geological fault bleeding gold straight through the frozen crust. Every ounce they've mined so far might be just the overflow. If that fracture keeps feeding upward, this could be the first active, self-replenishing gold deposit found in the Yukon. But that kind of discovery doesn't come without consequences. The next morning, the drill crew hits a strange pocket. Steam erupts as soon as the bit breaks through. It pours out thick and sulfuric, fogging the whole pit. The air turns warm enough to melt frost from the equipment. They shut the rig down and back off. When the mist clears, water bubbles at the surface, boiling in the sub-zero air. Thermal water, alive and circulating directly beneath them. They drill 2 more holes along the fault line, and each one vents the same hot steam. It's not an isolated spring, it's an underground network running under the entire trench. That heat explains everything: the migrating gold, the thawed permafrost, the fresh gravel that shouldn't exist. The site isn't frozen over. It's been moving, regenerating, building up layers of mineralized silt. Every year Monica realizes they're not mining an old claim. They're mining a living system. But the discovery comes with a cost. Machines start to buckle from the heat. Hydraulic hoses soften, plastic joints deform, and the dozer's engine overheats twice in one shift. The ground grows slick and unstable, the walls sweating moisture that refreezes at the surface. Pumps groan against rising pressure. Monica calls a stop to regrade the pit, but even standing above it, she can feel the temperature radiating through her boots. She climbs to the edge and looks down into the cut. Steam dances off the water pooled in the low spots, catching the floodlights and turning the pit into something that looks alive. Breathing, pulsing. Beneath the sound of engines, there's a faint hiss, steady and rhythmic, like exhalation. For the first time, Monica understands what her father meant when he called this ground cursed. It's not cursed, it's active, restless, and every ounce of gold it gives comes with risk. The next shift begins at dusk. The ground feels different, softer, hollow. The crew runs the wash plant slow, wary of another collapse. Just after midnight, a low groan echoes through the valley. The excavator operator yells for silence, and then the earth drops. In a split second, a whole section of the cut slumps downward, swallowing the pump station in a roar of falling rock and steam. Water bursts upward, spraying gold-colored mud across the pit. They scramble to shut down generators as the ground caves deeper, revealing a gaping hole where the pumps stood. When the dust clears, they see it. A hollow chamber beneath the trench, half ice, half rock, glinting like a mirror. The walls shimmer with visible veins of gold, running like veins of fire through translucent ice. It looks unreal, like the inside of the earth cracked open to show its heart. Monica orders everyone back. The pit's too unstable to enter. Even from the rim, they can see chunks of gold embedded in the frozen wall, exposed for the first time in decades, or maybe centuries. The camera crew films as steam curls upward, catching light in waves. Samples taken from the edge assay at over $600,000 in raw gold value, and that's just surface material. By morning, word has spread. Someone leaks a photo online, gold lines glowing through ice under floodlights, and the internet explodes. The Beets Vault, they call it, fans flood forums claiming it's fake, a publicity stunt, a CGI shot for television. But then the assay reports hit, and nobody's laughing. Within hours, mining boards, geologists, and investors are reaching out. The footage spreads worldwide. Monica Beets standing beside a pit that shouldn't exist, gold still glimmering in frozen walls behind her. The crew stays quiet, but every miner in Dawson knows what that kind of find means. Not just a pocket or a streak, but a living layer of pay dirt forming in real time. The ground her family once wrote off is rewriting the rule book. By the next morning, the excitement has turned into scrutiny. Trucks line the access road. Inspectors, government reps, and scientists drawn by the viral footage, clipboards replace cameras. Thermal scanners hum where the wash plant stood hours earlier. One official pulls Monica aside, voice low but firm, explaining that what she's exposed might be reclassified as a natural reserve, a geological anomaly with mineral and thermal significance. The words hit harder than the cold air. If that happens, her claim could fall under federal control before a single cleanup finishes. Monica listens without speaking, eyes fixed on the pit still steaming in the early light. Yesterday, it was proof that dead ground could live again. Now it's evidence the world might take from her. She argues the point hard, showing decades of lease records and dredge coordinates signed under her father's name. The officials mark notes, non-committal, but their tone softens when they see her claim. Maps dated long before the new boundary proposals. They agree to let her continue under provisional rights until final review. Still, the tension is clear. She's digging in a place that now matters far beyond a TV show or a family mine. The next morning, the lab reports drop. The assays confirm what everyone feared and hoped in equal measure. Visible and trapped gold values estimating over $120 million, and that's only in the upper fracture layer. The lower ice remains untested. The story breaks within hours, headlines calling it the richest modern strike in Yukon history. Every miner in Dawson is suddenly running seismic scans, hunting for similar thermal fractures. Helicopters buzz the valley, staking flags on nearby ridges. Tony Beets arrives unannounced, his presence quiet but heavy. Cameras catch the handshake between father and daughter, but not the look he gives her. After later, off camera, he mutters, "That kind of gold changes people." It's not a warning about greed, it's about what the weight of it does to a person. Monica knows he's right. Since the collapse, she hasn't slept more than 2 hours a night, her mind spinning with images of that glowing vault beneath the ice. The melt begins faster than anyone expects. By early spring, the thermal vents expand, flooding the lower trench. Monica brings in a dive team with specialized equipment to explore the submerged chamber. The divers descend through swirling water thick with silt, lights cutting through the murk until they find the main tunnel, the same hollow exposed during the collapse. Only now, deeper in, something man-made glints back. They follow the shimmer and realize they're looking at an old sluice box, timber-framed, riveted with rusted bolts, half buried in sediment. It's older than the 2008 dredge, older even than her father's early work. Inside the riffles, still packed tight under frozen gravel, lie bands of coarse gold. When they bring samples up, the assay dates the material to the 1930s. Pre-war Yukon dredging. It means there was an operation here once, long forgotten, buried by a later layer of mining, and then sealed again by permafrost. Monica stares at the footage in disbelief. 2 different mining eras, one stacked atop the other, both rich, both lost. Somehow the upper dredge from her family's time settled directly over an older sluice system, sealing it in place like a capsule. The collapse didn't destroy the site. It unearthed the ghost of another generation's work. And the gold they never recovered. The water analysis even shows traces of mercury and hydraulic oil used by early dredgers, trapped beneath the ice for nearly a century. When the divers resurface, they bring a chunk of the old sluice frame with them. The wood is blackened but intact, the riffles still holding visible flakes. It's proof that Monica didn't just reopen her father's ground. She reopened a buried mine from before his time. A double history converging in one pocket of the Yukon. The geologists call it a time vault, 2 gold systems sealed by nature and reactivated by heat. Over the next few weeks, they work carefully, extracting the upper pay streak while stabilizing the water flow. Each cleanup grows heavier. The final weigh-in breaks every expectation. $121.3 million in recovered gold, verified and documented. When the tally's done, the numbers go quiet in the tent. No one speaks. Even Tony, standing behind her, just nods once, speechless. The announcement spreads across the mining world. Former skeptics call to congratulate her. Networks scramble to secure rights to the footage. The Yukon government releases an official statement confirming the find's legitimacy and its extraordinary geological implications. For the first time, the Klondike is in global headlines, not for nostalgia, but for a living, active deposit producing gold in real time. Tony admits on camera that he never believed it was real until he saw it with his own eyes. "It's the kind of ground you chase your whole life," he says, looking over the pit. She found it. Monica doesn't respond. She just stares at the final cleanup tray, the gold piled like sunlight on metal. She dedicates the claim to her late grandfather, the man who first pegged the spot and called it worthless. Her words are simple. The ground just waited for the right hands. When the season winds down, snow creeps back across the claim. The machines go silent, parked in neat rows. The crew prepares to shut down for winter, but Monica's eyes keep drifting toward one untouched corner of the site. A section the sonar still marks as hollow, deeper than the collapsed vault. The data suggests another chamber, larger and colder, sealed beneath a solid mass of ice. No one's tested it yet. She files it away quietly, marking the coordinates but keeping them off the official report. The rest of the crew thinks the job's done, that the story ends with a record-breaking cleanup. But Monica knows the ground isn't finished. Every time the wind cuts across the pit, it carries that faint hiss of heat rising through frozen soil, a reminder that the Yukon never gives up all its secrets at once. When the camp lights finally shut off, the site sits in darkness, steam still drifting faintly from the fracture line. Beneath it, somewhere below the new ice, another echo waits. The sound of water moving through gold, still feeding upward, ready for whoever dares to dig next.